Welcome to a journey back in time. Picture this. It's the 1960s and you're standing in the heart of New York City, a place buzzing with life, chaos, and endless possibility. The air's thick with the sound of honking horns, the scent of coffee wafting from corner diners, and somewhere nearby, a jazz tune drifts out of a basement club. This is 1960s New York, a decade of glamour, grit, and big dreams. Today, we're diving deep into that world, exploring every corner of a city that defined an era. So let's step back and take it all in. Imagine strolling down Fifth Avenue on a crisp fall afternoon in 1965. Skyscrapers tower overhead, but they're not quite the giants we know today. Times Square is the beating heart of it all. Massive billboards flashing ads for the latest Hollywood flicks or sold-out Broadway shows. The streets are alive with yellow taxis weaving through traffic, their engines rumbling alongside the occasional blast of a horn. Men in fedoras puff on cigarettes, cool as can be, while women strut by in fur coats or A-line dresses. Fashion in the 60s wasn't just clothes, it was a statement, a snapshot of a world in motion. But it wasn't all glitz. Beyond the bright lights, places like the South Bronx or the Lower East Side told a different story. Crumbling tenements packed with working families, scraping by day after day. That's New York in the 60s, a city of dazzling highs and stark lows, all tangled up together. Now let's head to Greenwich Village, the epicenter of the counterculture. On any given night in the 60s, you might catch Bob Dylan strumming his guitar in a tiny coffee house. A crowd huddled close, hanging on every poetic word. This is where the folk scene exploded, carrying messages of peace and freedom. Head uptown to Harlem and you're in jazz country. Spots like the Apollo Theater or Minton's Playhouse were home to legends. Ella Fitzgerald, Duke Ellington, John Coltrane. The wail of a saxophone could tell you more about the city's soul than any history book ever could. And then there's pop music shaking up the whole town. Radio stations like WABC blasted the Beatles' "I Want to Hold Your Hand" or the Supremes' "Stop in the Name of Love" on repeat. From Manhattan storefronts to Brooklyn stoops, folks couldn't help but dance. Music in the 60s wasn't just sound, it was the pulse of New York. But the 60s in New York weren't just about music and neon lights. This was a decade of upheaval. Civil rights marches swept through the city, from the streets of Harlem to the parks of Manhattan. Voices like Malcolm X's echoed loud, demanding justice and equality. New Yorkers weren't just watching history, they were making it. while the city was reaching for the sky. In 1966, construction kicked off on the World Trade Center. Those twin towers weren't just buildings. They were a bold promise of what New York could become. And who could forget the New York World's Fair of '64 and '65? Millions flocked to Flushing Meadows to gawk at futuristic wonders. Flying cars and concept sketches, exhibits promising a shiny tomorrow. It was New York showing the world it was always one step ahead. Daily life in '60s New York had a charm all its own. Picture yourself at Katz's Deli, biting into a towering pastrami sandwich while waiters shout orders over the counter. Out in Brooklyn, kids chase each other down the street, jumping rope or swinging at a stickball. Moms lean out of brownstone windows, chatting with neighbors below. The subway's packed, but not suffocating like today. Folks flip through newspapers, light up smokes, and swap stories about the Yankees or the upstart Mets, who'd soon shock the world in '69. On weekends, crowds hit Macy's or Bloomingdale's, eyeing black and white TVs, record players, or the latest mod dresses. Life moved a little slower back then, but it still had that unmistakable New York energy. Restless, alive, unstoppable. New York in the '60s was a star on the big screen too. In 1961, Breakfast at Tiffany's hit theaters, and there was Audrey Hepburn gazing into Tiffany's window on Fifth Avenue, turning a storefront into a timeless icon. That same year, West Side Story brought the city's gritty streets to life with dance and drama, capturing its raw beauty. TV was huge too. The Ed Sullivan Show, broadcast straight from Manhattan, gave America the Beatles in '64, and New York lost its mind. This city wasn't just a backdrop, it was the main character in every story Hollywood told. '60s New York was a masterpiece of contrasts. Wealth and struggle, tradition and rebellion, dreams and hard realities. From jazz joints to protest chants, this city lived every second to the fullest. Even now, decades later, that '60s spirit lingers. In the streets, the buildings, and the memories of those who were there. Thanks for taking this trip with me. Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more journeys like this. See you in the next one.